Hello, everyone. This is Michael Newman. I'm in Vaughan, Ontario right now. It's Saturday, September the 14th, 2024. We're heading over to the Vaughan Yard again to see if we can meet the members of CPKC Rail Bargaining Unit. We're trying to make it for their 11 o'clock shift. There's a changeover for 11 o'clock, so there'll be some, I believe, there'll be some employees who will be leaving at that time. And then, of course, there'll be employees who will be going in before then to make it to their shifts on time. So we're going to try to see, how many employees we can meet, how many members of the bargaining unit we can maybe give our information to. And, again, I'm just giving out my phone number, my email, and contact information so that they can contact me, and give them a QR code that they can scan. And by scanning that, they just... it'll take them straight to my TikTok. They'll see my first TikToks and see the videos that we're making of our campaign. And this is a campaign of respect. It's a campaign of consent. That's what we're doing. We're reaching out to the 600 members of the CPKC Railway Bargaining Unit and asking them for their consent, their written permission to be their legal representative. So the members need to pick who that will be. It's not me. I'm the voluntary organizer of this campaign. I was asked to organize on behalf of many members of CPKC Rail. I got many friends in CP Rail, and we've decided that we're going to reach out to every member that's out there, as it should have been done a long time ago, and it's never been done, because this is a campaign of respect, and that's what you do. You respect the members, you ask them what they want, right? You ask them what it is, who it is they want to be their legal representative. That's what you do when you respect people. And that has never happened in this union. And this is the key factor, the linchpin of unions. That's what we're teaching everybody, so that everybody knows and everybody understands that there is no union without your consent. There is no union without your written permission. If the members do not give written permission, consent, in other words, sign a union card, and in the federally regulated industries, pay $5. You got to pay $5 to seal the deal. If the members don't do that, there's no union. The union does not exist. And that's the part of this whole system that seems to be lost. I know why it's lost. It's deliberately lost by the unions. The unions do not want you to understand this. They do not want you to know that you have the ultimate power. That because it is you, the members, who made the union possible. Without the majority of the members giving their written permission, there is no union. The reason that nobody knows that or understands that is because it was done in 1976. So, you know, yeah, pretty much everybody who's in the bargaining unit now was not part of that. That is done by an original group. Once the original group gives their written permission, the union exists. But as a member, you're still supposed to sign a union card, because once all the people who leave who gave the written permission are no longer there, who's given their permission? Well, no one, right? And it's a matter of respect. Every member is important. Every member is equal. So if you need the signatures and the written permission, the written consent of the original members of the bargaining unit to be a union, then you need the written permission, the written consent of every member who's in that bargaining unit, past and present. So that means when you as a member became an employee at CP Rail, or later on CPKC Rail, and they told you you're in the bargaining unit, at that point, you should have been asked to sign a union card by TC Local 1976. You weren't. And that's because, well, number one, they don't have any respect for you, because so they're not asking you for your permission, because that's what it is. It's right. I'm asking you for your consent. I'm asking you for your permission. That's a submissive role. That's an admission that you are in a submissive place. You're not in the driver's seat. If I have to ask you for your permission to do something, I'm not in the driver's seat. You are. You're in control. You have the ultimate power. The union doesn't want you to know that. So they don't ask you for your written consent. They don't ask you for your written permission. So they don't ask you to sign a union card. And number two, they don't want to teach you. They definitely don't want you to teach you. They don't want you to understand that you have a right. You have a right at any time to revoke your permission, to revoke your consent. And you revoke it by signing a union card with somebody else other than the USW. And again, so these are the reasons why this union has neglected. And possibly also because they themselves don't know, they don't understand that they need your written permission. But whatever the case is, the documented fact is that no one, I repeat, no one in the CPKC Rail bargaining unit has ever signed a union card with TC Local 1976 USW. There is no one who has ever signed a union card with the steelworkers to give their permission, to give their written consent to the steelworkers to be their legal representative, their bargaining agent, otherwise known as your union. No one has done that. And no one has done that at Campar. In the history of Campar, nobody has signed a union card with the steelworkers. Nobody has given their written permission to TC Local 1976 to be their legal representative. The members of Campar and the members of CPKC Rail gave their written consent to BRAC, the Brotherhood of Railway Clerks. That's who got the written permission. That's who formed this union. And the fact that the steelworkers came in and replaced BRAC, basically booted BRAC out, or TCU, because the TCU merged with BRAC, so they were the one in the same union. But the USW just came in and booted them out. In other words, decertified them. They took away, they revoked the permission of BRAC to be the legal representative. And they decertified them and made the USW that. But the thing is they never asked any of the members. They never got the written permission or the written consent of any of the members of the original units of BRAC. And there was probably at least 4,400 members of BRAC at that time, in 1999. Probably 40-something, 50-something different bargaining units. That's how many members were never asked if they actually wanted to decertify their original union, if they wanted to revoke the permission. So everybody gave their permission to BRAC to be their legal representative, and somebody just came along and decided for everyone that, oh yeah, we're going to revoke your permission without your consent. So the union never got the consent. The membership never got the consent. And the answer, of course, we were given was, well, they didn't need it. So you think about that. You think about a union that sits there and tells you, yeah, we don't need your permission. We don't need your consent. We don't need to consult you on anything. We just go ahead and do whatever we want to you. And you just gotta accept it. Think about a union that says that. That's the answer they give to you. They didn't give the answer, oh no, we need your permission because you're a human being who has rights. You're a taxpayer. You're a Canadian citizen, a permanent resident. You're a voter in this country. So we respect your rights as an equal, which means we need your consent to do something. We can't just come along and do it to you. Because that's the whole point of living in a democracy, right? Government just can't come along and do whatever it likes to you whenever it wants to. And the same with the union. But the union has the freedom of being in a democracy, but doesn't behave like a democracy. Because look what they just did. Look what they just did. The issue isn't whether it's legal or not. It's because obviously the Canadian Industrial Relations Board, they allowed it to happen. And under the Canada Labour Code, they have the jurisdiction and the right to allow whatever it is allowed through the code. So there was obviously some loophole, some article in that code that allowed them, right? Allowed the union or members of the union to just go ahead and decertify your original union, BRAC, without your permission, without the membership's permission. Somehow they were able to decertify 4,400 members, take away their consent, and hand it over to the steelworkers without actually getting everybody to sign cards and pay $5, without even telling anybody. Somehow they were able to do it. I don't know how. Can't get an explanation out of the board. But that's not the point, right? That's not the point. The point is, we're members. We're the people who decide if there's a union or not. Therefore, you got to ask our permission. And the very fact that you didn't ask our permission means you have no respect for us. So why should we ever have any respect for you? Right? That's what it means. Why should you ever respect a union that has no respect for you? They never asked you. They never even came around afterwards and said, oh, well, maybe we should ask everyone their permission after the fact. They never even did that. They never will now. Because I can tell you, who's ever going to sign a union card with TC Local 1976, USW, who's had the experience of having people decertify your union, your original union brack, take your original union brack away from you, and you don't even know they're doing it, and they don't even ask your permission because they say they don't need it? Yeah, well, guess what? They need it. They need your permission because you can formally revoke your permission of TC Local 1976 USW being your legal representative by signing a union card, a consent form, and giving your written permission, your written consent to somebody else, to some other union. So they need your permission. They need your consent. And the thing about consent is you have the right to take it away anytime you like. Maybe you can't make a formal application, but I'm not talking about formal applications. I'm talking about respect of the workers. I'm talking about respect of the members. You respect the wishes of the members. That means you contact all 600 members and you ask them, well, who would you like to be your legal representative? And you sign the card. It doesn't matter when. It doesn't matter with who. You just do it because that's respect. You ask for their consent. You ask for their permission. That's what this campaign is all about. This campaign is all about going out, seeking out the 600 members and asking them for their permission and telling them it's your right to give consent and you need to give consent because somebody else has done it for you. That's the issue. The issue is you never gave your permission for TC Local 1976 to be your legal representative. Somebody else did it for you. But nobody can do that. Nobody can give your consent on their behalf. No person can come along and say, yeah, I give permission for you to take this person and do whatever you like to them. How could you do that? How could you do that in a democracy? That's what a union card is, right? A union card is a consent form. And with that consent form, you create the union. That is how powerful this card is. That's why the union keeps misrepresenting it. They're never going to tell you accurate information about what this whole system means. Partly because they don't understand. I'm pretty sure they don't understand it. Because they have no interest in it. All they have interest in is getting in the union and collecting your money. And then spending it the way they like to. Because there's no meetings, right? You got no union meetings. So the members don't make any decisions. Hey, the unions, they're not shy about it. They say the executive council makes the decisions on your behalf. So you're supposed to vote for your executive council. But nobody has ever elected a new person onto the executive council. The executive council is made up of the people the union picked. It's not made up of members that the members picked. There's never been a single person who's ever been elected who was chosen by the members and they replaced somebody who was chosen by the union. That's never happened because there's only been 2 sets of elections. And that's only because the members, my friends and I, figured out how to do it, and then we went around and telling everybody how to do it. And we forced the union to have nominations and elections in which we actually got people nominated because the nomination system is so difficult. And it's not, again, it's wrong. It's not supposed to be like that. It's not supposed to be difficult to get somebody nominated. It's not supposed to be a challenge. It's supposed to be a very simple process. So you can already see that the whole system is very disingenuous. It's not made for the members. But what the members need to know, what you as a member need to know and understand is that doesn't matter. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your time with the union and its administration and its organization and how it put itself together. Don't waste your time, because that's what it's meant to do, waste your time and never succeed. Work with the original thing that made it all possible. And what that is signing a union card, giving your written consent, giving your permission. That's the power, because that's what made your union happen. Without that, in 1975, all the workers at CP Rail, all the rail workers at Campar, I don't know if it was CP Trucks at that time or not, but all the workers nobody gave their consent. Nobody signed a union card. Nobody was organized. And then in 1976, that's when it happened. The members of CP Rail, the members of Campar, they signed union cards with BRAC. They gave their written consent, their written permission, and guess what? Then you got a union. And that union sat down to negotiate a first collective agreement. That's the big one. That's the challenge. Because you got a blank page. You got nothing on it. And now you have to sit down and agree upon terms with the companies. So you have to put together that collective agreement. That was a lot of work. That was hard work, right? And that's why BRAC, your original union, appreciated it, because they did all the hard work. The USW did nothing. All they do is copy, because once you've done a first collective agreement, after that, when you go back to bargaining, you basically agree to 95% of it all over again. You don't change anything. You might make a little change here and there. And then you negotiate some of the other stuff, like wages, like some benefits, and maybe some things you want to change. Either the company wants to change or the members want to change. But the majority of that collective agreement is kept the same. So that the collective agreement that you have, the 200 plus pages of the CPKC Rail collective agreement, was from BRAC. BRAC negotiated that. BRAC made that happen. So, when the union comes out and says, you could lose your collective agreement, that's just like total nonsense. It's not even nonsense, it's ignorance. It's just ignorance. It shows that you don't know or understand how the collective bargaining process works. Or you're just lying, right? It's either one or the other. You're just outright lying about what you're saying, or you don't understand it. So I'm not sure which one they would want to admit to. But there's no other answer, right? I'm just going by logic. I'm just going by reasoning here. There's no other answer, because you're not going to lose your collective agreement. That's just nonsense. It's not even worth answering, because it doesn't happen. What do you think happens at the end of the collective agreement when it expires? You've lost your collective agreement. It's no longer there. It's expired. You now have to agree to a new one. That's exactly the same thing with getting a new union. With all the thing that changes is who your bargaining agent is, who does your bargaining for you. That's all that changes. The collective agreement stays the same and stays with you, stays with the members, because it was agreed upon. Once the company agrees to something with the members, that stays. That's Article 50. You read Article 50 of the Canada Labour Code. Same article as in the Ontario Labour Relations Act. They have almost the exact same article that says everything stays the same. All wages, benefits, and working conditions are frozen. They stay the same the moment you go into bargaining and you decertify your union and get a new one, and you have to go into bargaining again. That's what happens. at every time. So every time your collective bargaining agreement expires after 2 years or 3 years, they have to sit down and renegotiate a new one. Well, guess what? They just take the old one and they go through it article by article, line by line, and agreed. They go status quo, status quo, status quo. That's all they do. They just agree. They sit there and they agree to it. But of course, you as a member, you're not going to know this because they don't let you into bargaining. They don't let you see this stuff, right? So again, why does the union do that? Because they don't want you to know. They don't want you to know that you can be your own union, that you can do what they do 1,000 times better. I know, because I've seen it. I've seen what the USW is capable of. I've met the major players. I've talked to them. I've listened to them. I've talked to all these people in 1976. None of these people are any better or any more capable than all the other members of the bargaining units of TC Local 1976. If you're capable of getting hired at CP Rail or Campar, you're capable of running your own union. Easy peasy. Because they don't do anything extraordinary at all. And in fact, as the documentation shows, they don't even learn anything. They learn nothing, they share nothing. And I'll talk about that another time. It's too much for this video. But they don't even learn anything. So that's what the documentation shows. It proves that the members of TC Local 1976, all the members, 5,000 members, are all more capable of representing themselves than the actual executives who represent you. Because they make their money from the employer. They don't plan on getting a lucrative job as president or vice president, and they don't plan on yearly trips of going to Mont Tremblant and Blue Mountain and wherever other resort, and Las Vegas, all these other resorts that these unions plan on, or even Hawaii. I've heard Hawaii. I've heard the Caribbean. I've heard Bermuda. Yeah, these guys go everywhere for union business. That's at the forefront of what they're there for, right? That's not what the members care for. All the members say the same thing. I just had a good friend of mine from CPKC Rail the other week. We met for coffee, and he said, Mike, the members want representation. That's what they want. They want representation. And you have to contact all 600 and talk to them about getting that representation. And he's absolutely correct. That's exactly what we have to do. We have to meet every member. We have to talk to every member. We have to contact every member at least. We need to sit on the phone or in a Zoom meeting and talk to every member of CPKC Rail and say, look, we need to know who it is you want to be your legal representative. We need your consent. We need your written permission. We need you to sign a union card. We're not going to tell you who to sign with. You have to ultimately decide that for yourself, because nobody can tell you who to give your permission to. People can make suggestions, but it's supposed to be of your own free will, your own fruition, to decide who you want to represent yourself. And through my experience and what I've seen, that the only person who's going to be good at representing you is you. The members are the best representatives ever because they do all the work. They sit there and fight the grievances. They sit there in interviews and with their fellow employees, their fellow co-workers, and they defend them. And they learn what you need to say and what you need to do to represent yourself the best, in the best of light, so that you will not receive unjust discipline. That's done by your union reps who are on the floor with you. Your union steward, unit secretary, whatever, unit president, whatever you want to call them. Those people who go in there and they defend you, and you'll know somebody who's defending you, and you'll know somebody who's not. And those people who go in there and defend you, they are a fantastic union right there. And that's all my friends. I got a lot of good friends, and they know how to defend themselves and defend their fellow members like nobody else's business. And they did it, right? They did it without having the legal control over the collective agreement. In other words, they're not the union. The union has the ultimate power of deciding where a grievance goes. It's called, they have carriage of the grievance. In other words, they decide where to carry it. And usually they carry it so that it ends up on the sidelines, doesn't go anywhere. And if you're a member and you can try to force them, sometimes they give in, but ultimately they don't have to. And that's why you need legal control over your collective agreement and its enforcement. And that legal control is you are the union. That's it. You're the union. When you're the union, you have legal control. You make the legal decision of what to do. That's all a union is. It's nothing else. Costs no money. Costs $5. That's it. And you can get your $5 back. It costs $0 to become a legal union, to have legal control. That's what you need as a member. It's the easiest thing in the world. And the unions don't want you to know that because they want your money. They use the majority, not even the majority, like 90% of your money is used by them to administer these expensive, overbloated unions. That's all it is. They just create these things that need money, and then they claim, oh, well, that's what you have to do because you have to have a union, so you have to administer the union, so you make it the most expensive way possible to administer the union. You go to a resort, and you rent hotels, and you fly there, and you go out to eat. So that all costs a lot of money. So we need a lot of union dues. And then we pay people full-time salaries to administer this, rather than just go to work like everybody else and make your money from the employer. Like, that's what you're paying for. It's a ridiculous system, an ineffective system. You as a member know it. You know there's something wrong with this system. It's ineffective. You want representation. I know that. 100% of the members I talk to want representation, which means they want somebody fighting for their rights and to the best of their ability in good faith. That's what they want. That's what they're entitled to under the law. You're entitled to it. And the reality is with these unions, you don't get it because that's not their focus. Their focus is on administration. Number one, paying themselves a big salary to be a full-time union person. Number two, spending their time planning their trips to get together with other union people so they can talk about union business and the very expensive, time-consuming process of administering this gigantic union. Just do away with it, guys. Just do away with it. Revoke your permission and sign a union card with somebody else. Sign a union card with yourselves and make your own union. And in your own union, you say, yeah, the members all get together in a meeting and make all the decisions. End of story. That's it. We don't go to Las Vegas. We don't go to Mont Tremblant. We all get on Zoom or we get on Google Meet or some other video conferencing, which costs $20 a month. And we sit there all in a meeting, all 600 members of CPKC Rail, and we make the decisions of what to do on everything. And we all vote. And you can vote by phone. You don't even have to be at the meeting. You just ask people to vote. And you have several meetings because CPKC Rail's 24/7. So somebody's always going to be working when there's a meeting. So you got to have at least 2 meetings, maybe 3 meetings. But you give everybody a chance. It's that simple. And guess what? You got $750,000 in union dues coming in the first year alone. Maybe even $1 million. So you got money. You got lots of money. And you can use that money to benefit yourselves, to enhance your representation. You use that money to hire an accountant. You use that money to hire a labor lawyer and to get the best legal advice. You use that money to hire a professional negotiator if you want. to go in and bargain for you. That's what you use your money for. And you put your money aside to have a strike fund. And guess what? Maybe you could use it to go on strike. And you could decide how much you want to spend on the strike fund. You can make it so it's like full wages. You'll get full wages for a week or two. You just save up the money. Don't spend the money on Mont Tremblant. Don't spend the money on Las Vegas. 40% of your money, or even more than that, I think it's 45% of your union dues, goes automatically to the United States. It's gone. It's gone out of the local. You don't get to touch it. It goes to the international. You got no USW, you got no international, you got not this big fat bloated expensive union. You just get rid of it. Guess what? You got $750,000 in cash sitting in the bank. And you, the members, can decide how you want to spend it. You spend it on yourself. And you make it so everybody makes their money from the employer. And guess what? Everybody's motivated to get the best contract you possibly can and to do everything you can to enforce it. That's a real union. That's what you need. You need to take control back. You need to give your written consent, your written permission to whoever you want to represent you. I recommend you give it to yourself.